Hello everyone, as I promised on my last post on my Patreon page, I am going to record a series and explain FStorm Render. And just before getting into the course and how it's going to be, I thought I just quickly explain who I am, what I'm doing, and why I decided to record this. My name is Said Amiri. I'm a 3D artist for more than a decade, and for the last 5-6 years I used FStorm on daily basis. Pretty much all the architectural projects, either interior or exterior, pretty much every time I rendered inside 3ds Max I used FStorm, unless it was asked by client or I joined another studio where they were not using FStorm, then I had to use Corona. But I would say 90% of the time I use FStorm, and pretty much all the images you see on my website, on my Instagram, they are all made by FStorm. And I've been using FStorm since the beta version, and I did a project a while ago, like years ago. This project is called this one. Yeah, it's called Wetland. It's based on the David Chipperfield project, and I remember in that time it was I had a lot of challenges with FStorm Render and how to use it, and yeah, but it was fun doing all of that. And what I wanted to show you, I did that project I published it in February 2018. Probably I worked on it for a few months. So I decided to record a course, a series where I explain what I have learned during these years, and the syllabus, you can read them on my Patreon, but I'm not going to follow exactly one by one. I'm just basically going to follow each model with each time I record, I plan to record a model, but depends on the how big is the topic and what are the sub models and the small topics. So I don't want to record like really long videos, but I'm gonna keep it as short as possible. And also, I am not a technical artist, so I'm not gonna keep that technical at all. So, and today is 20th of July 2026. And I'm saying that because the FStorm Render is updating rapidly, and yeah, if you're looking at this video and then if the version you see on the website is totally different than what I'm going to use, it's just because it has been updated a lot. So yeah, we start with a needed system, and what you need to start with the renderer, you need a GPU, NVIDIA GPU specifically, and I see here on the website it's written a GPU series 400 or higher is required, but based on my knowledge, which I have seen on the Facebook group, and if you go to Facebook group, I mean, here is the best source for any info you want about the FStorm Render, latest info. And if you have any questions, you can just ask questions, and there are many people, including the main developer of the software, Andre. They're gonna reply. Yeah, this guy, he is the main developer and the person behind the FStorm renderer. And based on my knowledge and based on what I have seen on the group, the latest GPU is GPU series 2. So I think this one needs to be updated, or I don't know, or I'm making a mistake. But the best would be just to ask inside the group. And also, if you have like very small GPU with like 6 gigabyte of VRAM or even less, it's a bit hard to work with FStorm with low VRAM. Yeah, the driver version you need, I would suggest to keep your driver always updated. And I always install the studio version instead of the game version. And you know, I have 4090. Yeah, I mean, I have to change the language to English, but GeForce Game Ready NVIDIA Studio, and I usually download the studio version, which you can do as well. And yeah, let's go back to the requirements. And you need to have 3ds Max 2014 until 2022 2 at the moment, which is still not updated on the website. I think is even working with 2026. And yeah, and this is also a very good recommendation to use a watermark version before you check the renderer and check the software, before you buy the software to check it. And yeah, that's it. There is not much technical info going on. It's just, and you can skip all of that. You can just download the software, the renderer, and install and see if it's working or not. And then again, how to install is pretty simple. You just go to download, and we're gonna install the latest version, which is a stable, which is nice. So when you see the stable here, that means the V2, and you see V200Z. And usually when he publish V200A or V200 nothing. And then when the people report the bugs, he updates, and then he goes from V200A, B, C, D, and then it updates until it gets to the stable version. So I believe there were so many bug fixing on this version until it becomes to a stable version. And usually when I start with a project, I stick with the version I was using. So even if it's like there is update in the middle of the project, I'm not going to update it, because sometimes the colors and the lighting and the mood and the stuff are going to change between the version to version. So I would, in order to keep that stable and consistent until the end of project, I usually keep one. So we download the, I'm gonna save it on my desktop, and then I'm gonna open it, run the installer, next, agree, and then just check the version. I have only 3ds Max 2024, 3ds Max path, plugin path. Usually these are by default. If you have changed them, just change them. And then I'm going to install, and that's it. It's installed. Now we're going to open 3ds Max. After we install the FStorm in our renderer, we can apply it here and have the FStorm Render as our main renderer. What is this? Here. And yeah, you're gonna have this tab for FStorm Render and all the settings, which we are going to go through it. And yeah, you can see the license here and the version you have, and also if you come to GPU manager, you're gonna see your GPUs, which for me is only one 4090. And yeah, basically that's it for installing the software. And for the next step, I'm going to talk about the user interface and interactive rendering. Thank you for your time.